The comedian Joe List has told this story on many podcasts over the years. And because he's told it many times, I don't feel bad telling an abridged version. But basically, in the story, this happened like 15 years ago or something in New York City. And at the time, he was a young, struggling comedian and he was also a raging alcoholic. He was extremely awkward around women. And he had this night out with him and I believe it was some other comedian friends. And he met up with these two girls and they worked at a bar and they were getting him drinks, and so he got progressively drunker as the night went on, and I think he had some kind of like romantic banter with one of them. um but he was just so trapped in his own anxiety and insecurities that uh yeah, he apparently throughout the night he was saying, uh you love me, I'm the greatest guy you've ever met, and then 5 minutes later he was saying, no, you hate me, I'm disgusting, like just the completely all at sea in terms of dealing with these women. So anyway, he gets basically blackout drunk, and the girls live in Manhattan, and then after their drinking sesh they let him crash at their place. So he wakes up the next morning and he's alone in their apartment, and he goes to take a piss, and he sees a coffee table and it's broken, and he has the sinking feeling. He was like, well, that was me, I did that. um and I've had that fucking feeling before. It's disastrous. You don't know what's happened, but it's like I'm 100% responsible for that damage because of my blackout. I have no idea how I did it, but that's definitely me. So he had one of those moments, and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm a piece of shit." Went and took a piss, and he's kind of getting his stuff together. He has to catch a flight. He's going to Seattle that day to go to a comedy festival, and then he realizes he's taken, or someone, but he knows it's definitely him. Someone has taken a shit in one of the girl's shoes, and this obviously sends him into hysteria. He's like, fucking hell, I can't believe I've done this. And he's trying to clean up. But then he also has to leave because he's going to go to JFK and catch his flight. If he misses his flight, he'll be fucked. He won't be able to go to this stand up festival in Seattle. So he does his best to clean up. And then on his way out, catches a cab to the airport, and he's frantically texting the girl saying, so sorry for what I did. I'm an idiot. I can't believe what I did. The girls respond, they're like, no, 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 we think it's funny. And that sets him at ease. He's like, oh God, these girls are all right. And so then he has to get on a plane. And bear in mind, he hasn't cleaned himself up or any of that. And so he goes to Seattle with a fucking dirty ass. And uh, when he lands, his phone is blowing up, and the girls are like, you disgusting piece of shit, I can't believe you did this. And so he thought they were cool with him. It's like, wow, these ladies are wild. But turns out no, they just thought that he was referring to the broken coffee table. They had no idea that he'd also taken a shit in their shoes at a certain point during the night. It's a very shameful story for Mr. List. But let's face it, we've all been there. But what I think is maybe the funniest part of the story is the fact that like he's in the cab and he receives the he receives the text from the women saying like, no, we think it's funny. And he's like, Jesus Christ, these ladies are fucking wild. Like, if you can shit in their shoes and they won't bat an eyelid, you've got to keep it there. Um, But yeah, it turns out that was not the case. They were appalled by that type of behavior, rightly so, I believe. But yeah, I feel like in those moments where you fucked up, you're desperate for grace. You're desperate for it not to be a big deal. And I've kind of found that in my life, if you've fucked up and you're around cool people, they do tend to kind of like turn a blind eye. or it just not to bother them. And that's obviously horrible behavior. But I guess that's the thing, is that you've got two options, right? You got to try and do you try and change the damaged, fucked up parts of yourself, or do you just kind of accept that those parts of you are unchangeable, and then you kind of like limit the damage that those parts of you can do? Because like the more I read and learn about therapy, I think that it helps you understand how you fucked up. It doesn't necessarily help you ever fix how you fucked up. So you'll maybe get like a better bird's eye view, and you could maybe get some better understanding of like things that trigger you. But essentially that's what I've come to the conclusion um here, is that like you got to find the right type of people who kind of like not put up with your shit, but I don't know. I see like really good like friendship groups as kind of like self-sustaining little economies, where it's like, I don't know, in like a little town, you got to have the baker, you got to have the truck driver, you got to have the postman, and they're all kind of like similar, but they all have their specific quirks, and but it kind of all functions together. Like you need one another, and you're gonna not be so hung up on their issues if they're all kind of like playing a role in the little town. And so I feel like just be yourself is good advice if you're around the right people, because they'll accept you, because they'll be like, yeah, sometimes he shits in a shoe, but fucking hell, he can deliver an Amazon package. I'll tell you that for free. Yeah, you got to be like out. You, there are certain people where it's like if you shit in a shoe, it's over. Other people will be like, well, that's Tuesday for Joe. Fuck it, let's have a beer. So I feel like yeah, maybe it's a case of like just limiting the damage, rather than really trying to get to the bottom of like, oh fuck, I could stop drinking like Joe List did and stop shitting in shoes. But where would the fun where would the fun in that be? I'm starting to realize this is maybe horrible enabling advice. So yeah, if you're shitting in shoes, don't do it. But I guess my broader point is, I don't know, we're all kind of horrible in our own little ways. And yeah, I feel like if you're around the right people, you won't be that little horrible part of you will only appear every so often. So when it does, they'll kind of be like, fuck it. Like you've been a cool dude, man, for the longest time. So bit of shit in my shoe, whatever. Whatevs, mate. But if you're around the wrong people, you'll be shitting in shoes 6 out of 7 days a week. So rather than try and like work on yourself or fix yourself or change yourself, be yourself, but around the right people. Booyakasha. There you go. One semester of fucking psychology, and I figured that out. Don't trust these fucking quacks, man. Don't trust these Dr. Melfis. All right. Peace out.